y'all, I finally got done watching Tyler Perry's Beauty and Black on Netflix, and overall I have to say that I enjoyed season 1 a lot better than season 2, and let me tell you why. For one, Kimmy didn't get to the damn office until episode 7, and I think episode 7 and 8 is really going to keep me locked into this show, because if it wasn't for me seeing her in that boardroom at the end, Kimmy doing her thing and clocking the Belleries, I wouldn't tune into this show anymore. Also, I didn't like how they changed Angel's whole character. Once he got hold of the money, he just turned into a straight asshole. And y'all know I used to love Angel. He was my favorite character. In fact, when I thought he was unalive, I even went to Costco and I got him some flowers. I was gonna put it on his grave. Legit. Like, I really love Angel. That's my boy, but now I can't stand him. But Angel isn't the only one that I stopped liking. By the end of this season, I'm really not rooting for many people except Kimmy and Horace. But before I get into this recap, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandi, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So if you do like watching TV show reviews and movie reviews, please subscribe to my channel, and also please like this video because it really does help the channel out. Now guys, I already recapped episode 1 and 2. I'll link that video down below. So now I'll be recapping episodes 3 through 8. Now a lot of these scenes were dragged out and very redundant, so I'm just trying to give you the highlights of episodes 3 through 8 because this series really could have been about 3 or 4 episodes long instead of 8 episodes. Now episode 3 kicks off with Horace finding out that Angel was the one that was involved in the shooting. Angel was the one he actually put the hit out on unintentionally. And Horace calls Jules up like, why didn't you tell me that Angel was the one that was locked up for stealing Lakeland's car? And Jules gives some kind of rubbish excuse, but Horace is devastated because you know Angel is his boo, and they haven't even like hunched or done anything. All Angel did was dance for that old man, and Angel got him hooked. Next we see Jules. He's going into the office to meet with Mallory because Mallory demanded a meeting with him. And Mallory tells Jules that she knows about all of the trafficking, she knows about the money being laundered through the club, and she knows about everything, and she learned all of that information from Felicia the stripper. Now I couldn't figure out, why did Mallory tell Jules that she knew all of this information? Tell me one thing, even from season 1 I can't remember anything that Mallory did that was very intelligent. I mean, she comes across as she's a very gifted and talented reader. She will cuss your ass out. But I'm really trying to think, like, what has she contributed or done? And Jules tells Mallory, like, listen, the less you know about the operation, the better. And Felicia, I'm going to deal with Felicia for telling you that information. And Mallory lets him know, like, listen, no, I don't want Felicia touched because I need some insights into the club. I need to know what's going on. But what have we seen Mallory do with any of the information that she collects? We see Norman having a conversation with Horace. He goes to visit Horace in the hospital. I'm so glad that by the end of this season, they did move him to another location because we were tired of seeing him sitting up in that hospital bed. But anyway, Norman goes to visit him, and Norman's just trying to act like he's just a great brother and that he loves Horace. And Horace was like, listen, you slept with Olivia and you tried to take the company from me. You are no brother to me. You are an enemy. And the way Horace continually mentions that Olivia and Norman had an affair makes me think, are Roy and Charles even his children? Like, is that going to be something that comes out in seasons down the line, that either both of his sons or one of his sons belong to Norman? I don't know, but it's a reason that he keeps mentioning that affair with Olivia. And Horace clocks Norman like, listen, I know that you've been laundering money through the club. I know everything. And Norman, based on that information, he goes to Jules. He has a conversation like, listen, we need to get rid of the judge. I need to tie up all loose ends. I can't have any felonies against me or I won't get my shares in the company. And later on in episode 3, we see that Norman goes to the judge's house. He sits down, has dinner with the judge and his wife, and he leaves his briefcase box behind. And Norman ends up blowing the judge and his wife up in their house. And that's the way that he tied up that loose end, all to just get shares in the company. These people are willing to go to great lengths for that money, and that is very scary. Also in this episode, we see Mallory having dinner with Varney, and I really like their budding friendship. And she's telling Varney, in essence, like, I'm glad that you're out of the closet yet. And Varney is like, I'm not out of the closet. And Mallory says, well, if Roy knows that you're gay and you're sleeping with Charles, then trust me, you are out of the closet because Roy is going to tell everybody. And Varney explains that he's very uncomfortable with coming out because he's the family's attorney and Horace hired him directly. And Horace is extremely homophobic, which is crazy to me because Horace is damn near in love with Angel just off of a few lap dances. We then see a drunk Olivia who happened to be in the same restaurant as Mallory and attorney Varney. And she straight up asks Varney, like, what are you doing on about this marriage between Horace and Kimmy? Are you doing your job? And Olivia, let me tell you, she is such a good drunk. Debbie Morgan, that is, right? It's not every actress or actor that could be a good drunk, and she is hilarious. Though it's kind of hard to watch her be so inappropriate, because later on, Barney and Mallory end up driving her home, and she really wants to sleep with Barney, and she says a whole lot of inappropriate things to Barney. She's like, let me see your D. You know, you're such a big, strapping man. I want to see if the carpet matches the drapes. Like, she was coming for him, right? She wanted Barney. And now we see Rain trying to get to the club. She's trying to get the club to Linda. She's trying to get to this club for at least 3-4 episodes, right? And for the love of me, I can't understand why Rain wants to go back to the club. But she tells Kimmy, like, listen, I don't want the $500,000 that you're giving me. I want to run the club. That's my comfort zone. That's what I know. That's what I love. And I know how to check those girls. Plus, she tells Kimmy that she wants revenge on Dagga, the T.S. Madison lady that did the butt shots on her. So Rain gets Alex to take her to the club. And they're having some very good conversations in the car, although, again, very dragged out scenes. But he informs Rain that she should trust him along with Kimmy, Angel. Like, he wants to be on their team. He says that he saw how Jules folded in the presence of Horace. And he's really trying to get from up under Jules' thumb as well. He owes Jules about $200K. And they wanted Alex on the team because he's a weapons specialist and he's a martial artist. And remember, on the last episode, we saw Horace say that Alex has some special skills that could come in use down the line. So Alex is just trying to tell Rain, but I really do not trust him at all. But Alex does have a conversation with Officer Traxon, the bald-headed guy. And Alex asks Traxon, like, hey, where is Dagga at? Where's the lady that does the butt shots? Because Alex knows that Rain wants to get her revenge. She wants to get her lick back for getting the botched BBL. And then a few scenes later, we're going to see that Alex actually takes Rain to see Dagga. Now in episode 4, we see Charles as well. He's back at Delinda's. These rich people cannot stay out of this raggedy club to save their life. So a stripper comes up to Charles and he tells Charles, like, listen, you know, I was going to rob you before, but I decided against it. But Charles still decides to go home with this gentleman. One of those things in the show that just makes absolutely no sense. And I thought Charles might have been like the one family member that could have had just a little bit of sanity. I thought he would be the one that would say, hey, F all of this. Like, I don't care about the money that's in the will. I know how to get a bag on my own. I'm not relying on Horace. I'm not relying on nobody. I thought he would be the one sane one. But he ends up being a dummy and a liability as well. Rain and Alex, they're still in the car trying to get to the club. And Rain finds out that Angel is dead. So she calls Kimmy to tell her what happened. And Kimmy is flipping out. Kimmy is at the mansion and she starts packing her stuff right away. She tells Kimmy that she is going to get her and Sylvie out of there because she does not trust that Horace won't kill them as well. And part of me, like, I'm Team Kimmy on that one, right? Because, listen, if you could kill Angel, and Horace likes Angel a lot, then what will you do to me? At that point, Kimmy did not know that it was a mistake, and Horace unintentionally put the hit out on Angel. She didn't know, so she's just scared for her life. But we, as the audience members, we see that Angel is still alive. We see him go to his baby mama's Yolanda house, and she was getting on my nerves. Like, Angel went in there frantic, like, listen, people are trying to kill me. They're threatening you, and they're threatening Angel Jr. too, his son. So we got to get out of here. And she didn't want to hear anything. She's talking about money. He's not giving her any money. She is just being stubborn. Also, we see Angel, he goes to visit Horace as well after he was having no success with getting his baby mom out of that house. So he goes to see Horace, and Horace thought he was really seeing an angel. Horace was like, am I dead? Because he thought that Angel was really gone. He put that hit out on Angel, so he thought Angel was oof. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Kimmy is still trying to get out of that situation. So Rain finally arrives back to the mansion, and Kimmy is like, we gotta go. I'm gonna get one of these cars, and they're gonna have to let me out of this gate, or I'm gonna bust the gate down. So they end up getting one of the cars, her, Sylvie, and Rain, and they're driving. They're trying to get off the premises of the property. They see a car with dark figures in it, right? And somehow Kimmy ends up crashing and going into a ditch, and her car won't move anymore. So she sees dark figures getting out of the dark car, and they're walking towards her, and they're all looking like, who is this? Who could it be? It was like a scene from a horror movie. This scene was cracking me up, and it ended up being Horace. And he comes to her car window like, you going somewhere? And that's how episode 4 ends off? It ends off with Kimmy just being terrified of Horace and it looking like a horror movie. Now, episode 5 kicks off with Kimmy still stuck in the car in a ditch with Sylvie and Rain in the car with her. And Angel emerges from the car that Horace was in. And they are so shocked that Angel is alive. So they all go in the house and they're chatting. And Horace is just pissed off with Kimmy. And he's mad that Kimmy doesn't trust him. And he's like, why were you trying to leave? And she tells him, like, listen, I found out that you put the hit out on Angel. You got him killed. So I thought I was next. So I was getting me and my sister and Rain out of this situation. And he is just so upset. And he's like, is that why you withdrew $1 million from the bank account? And Angel's face when Horace said that was like, damn, you drew $1 million from the bank account. You withdrew it, I mean. Like, damn, like, let me hold something, Kimmy. But Horace was getting on my nerves a little bit too, because Horace, you cannot blame Kimmy. Like, she really don't know you like that. This is a new situation. Although Kimmy was already in poverty, like, she don't got nothing to lose. But she was in her comfort zone, in her poverty. Like, she had control. She wasn't really, I mean, I guess she was in fear of her life from Jules and them. But still, like, she got the right to question you, Horace. She is a grown-ass lady. So Horace was getting on my nerves just a bit with him not allowing Kimmy to ask her questions and voice her concerns. Now, this episode, to me, episode 5, was a wash. Like, we did not need this episode. It wasn't really a lot of meat on the bone here, guys. This whole episode, Angel was just in disbelief on finding out his new situation. He could not believe that they are done with Jules. Jules is no longer the boss. And Angel just can't believe that he has money to go shopping. He has his choice of cars. And he's living in a mansion. He has his own bedroom and his own bathroom. And Rain, she finally makes it to the club. She finds out that it's a new young girl that's working at the club that's about to get her butt done by Dega, the same lady that did her butt job. So Rain figures out that, hey, you know, I'm going to meet them at the motel. I'm going to insert myself and I'm going to prevent this young girl from getting killed. And I'm going to get my lick back on Dega. And that's exactly what she does. Alex drives her to the motel. And episode 5 ends off with Rain knocking on the motel door. And Dega is like, who is it? And Rain is like, it's Rain. So Dega is looking a little bit shook and surprised. Like, damn, like Rain here? But then the next episode kicks off and they let Rain into the room. Big mistake, because Rain and Dega start fighting. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but Dega was really getting the best of her. She was fucking Rain up for real. She was on top of her, punching her. Then she was about to reach for her gun and actually kill Rain. But then Alex stepped in, because mind you, he's a weapon specialist, martial artist, all of this. So he shoots Rain. Then he shoots Shake that was actually with Dega. She was on Dega's team. But I can't figure out what happened to that male nurse. It was a guy that was dressed as a male nurse in like a burgundy nurse suit. And Alex just knocked him to the wall, but he didn't die. He just passed out. But what are they going to do about him? Like, I don't know. Again, this show be having so many loose ends that they don't tie up. I don't know what to believe. But anyway, they let the young girl, her name is Adelaide. They let her, also known as Young Girl. I think her stage name was named Young Girl, Young Thing like that, right? And they let her live. And Alex was really against this. He was like, Rain, you know we're not supposed to leave no witnesses. Like, we just caught 2 bodies and we leaving a witness. And Rain just got the girls her information. She knows that the girl's from Alabama. She gave the girl a wad of money from Dega's pocket. And she told the girl, like, get on the bus to Alabama and don't look back. Like, I just saved your fucking life. Like, I saved your life from the BBL. And basically, I saved your life from Alex killing you. So you owe me. You never were here. You never saw anything. Just get your ass on a bus and go to Alabama. But side note, I love the messaging. Now, one thing about Tyler Perry is he always has a message in his movies and his shows. And I like the messaging around these botched BBLs, these girls getting these illegal butt shots, because it's happening a lot in real life. And I think the message is don't fucking do it. Because you see how Rain's BBL turned out? He got it looking a mess. Tyler Perry did that intentionally, okay? And also the lady that did the illegal butt shots or BBL, whatever you call it, she actually inflated Rain with like tire inflation solution. Like when your tire go flat, she pumped that into Rain. And we see that Alex ended up killing her, the lady that did the butt shot. So it didn't end up well for Rain, and it didn't end up well for the lady that actually did the butt shot. So big shout out to Tyler Perry for showing that message right there. So now Rory is at the damn club too. Again, this family cannot stay out of this club. He's in VIP with 3 strippers, Felicia and 2 others. He's banging Felicia, and Felicia is acting like it's the best D she ever had. So I'm like, wait, now Kimmy said that Rory can't get it up. Mallory said he can't get it up. Like, can he get it up or not? Like, I really want to know. Like, I need some answers on that. And we also find out a little later on that Roy wants to hire Felicia to be his assistant at the company. And that is going to like throw Kimmy way off because remember, Kimmy and Felicia got into that fight at the end of season 1. So what is she going to do when Felicia comes to the company and she's Roy's assistant? Now, one of the next scenes is one of my favorite scenes. We see that Roy, with his drunk self, after he leaves the club VIP, he goes to his father Horace's house and he sees Kimmy. Kimmy's inside the office with the curtains all open. Like, girl, what happened to your street smart? You don't have the curtains open at night. But anyway, she has the curtains open and he's just watching her from the window, right? But the head of security comes over and he checks him like, listen, what are you doing here? You got to go. You got to get the fuck out of here. Kimmy hears all the commotion and she comes out. She starts cussing Roy out as well. And he's like, listen, you know, my father's probably going to be dead by morning and I'm saving up all my peace so I could piss on him. Meanwhile, Horace was right in back of his son Roy and he heard that conversation. So he tells his security, like, listen, pin Roy down to the ground. I'm too weak to do it. I'm sick. I can't fight with him. Pin him down to the ground. So they pinned him down to the ground, beat him up, and Horace proceeded to piss on his own son. And I was gagged. You know, that's the kind of writing that I like. Like, I love to see that Horace pissed all over Roy. And Kimmy was just sitting back like a G. She was smoking her cigarette, watching it all like she didn't have a care in the world. But that's what Roy gets. So Roy goes home and Mallory smells the piss all over him. But listen, this is just another thing that I don't get. Why is Mallory and Roy sleeping in the same bed? Why do they share the same bathroom? Because she actually found Roy's clothes on the bathroom floor in the morning. Like, why does this smell like piss? Mallory, why do you care? Again, you're a busy body. I understand you're with Roy for money, but that does not mean y'all have to be in the same room. Y'all got to share the same bathroom. Go on another wing of the house. Matter of fact, you could just move out and still be married. It's plenty of couples that are actually happy that don't even live together. Like, girl, like, it is just so annoying. Like, I want so much more from Mallory's character. I cannot wait to see her go head to head with Kimmy in a very valuable way. And I want to see Mallory bring something to the table besides just being like a nosy busybody. But don't get me wrong, Roy annoys me way more than Mallory does. Roy got to go. I cannot wait till Kimmy get rid of him. And speaking of Mallory, on this episode 2, she shows up to breakfast. Kimmy and them are having breakfast poolside and she comes and says, you know, I just wanted to welcome you to the family, bring you some flowers. She's trying to play all nice. Again, just being, is meaningless. Like, what's your objective here? And the thing that I don't get is, you know, Kimmy's situation, you know, she was trafficked. She did not choose this situation and you're still gonna give this girl a hard time. Like zero respect for Mallory. Like, I can't stand her character. But that's her job. That's this character's job. She's supposed to be an evil villain and she is playing her part so well. And on this episode 6, Charles ends up murking 3 stick-up boys. So he met that stripper at the club, the stripper that said he was previously plotting on robbing Charles. Charles still took him home. They were doing drugs together. He was drinking all of Charles' good liquor. And he ends up calling his boys over. One of the security people at Delinda's, I think his name is Andy, he was in on it too. So I can't wait to see the aftermath of what's going to happen with Andy. But nonetheless, they proceed to run up in the crib and they were going to rob Charles. Charles was trying to get behind his red bedroom doors because, you know, he had a strap in his bedroom. But I guess he remembered that he also had a gun under his living room coffee table. So he grabbed that gun and he murked all 3 of them. And I love that for him. Whoever come into your crib, you got the right to murk them. But I do not like how Charles handled this down the line. We see just in a few scenes later, the next episode or so, that Charles, he's trying to call Varney for help. He's trying to call his brother Roy, whom he hates. He's trying to call Roy for help because Charles does not know what to do. He's never been in this situation before. He just murked 3 people in his crib. And now also on this episode 7, we're finally seeing Kimmy get dressed. She's getting dressed to go to the company. She has on a beautiful pink coat, a beautiful white skirt suit. She looks good. She looks perfect, a 10 over 10 in my opinion. And everybody's asking her like, you ready? You ready? And she's like, listen, I got this. And we saw that Kimmy was studying all night and she must have got her MBA overnight on ChatGPT or something, because the way she was reading them in that boardroom was second to none. You would have thought that girl went to business school and she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was talking about, which was pretty unbelievable because we first meet Kimmy and she's an airhead. They make her out to be pretty much a dummy. And now all of a sudden she's a highly intelligent capable businesswoman that's able to read the company books, tell them what debt they accrued, and tell them what they need to do to get out of debt. Just highly unbelievable. But anyway, let's back up a little bit to her entry into the office. So Kimmy, she shows up to the office late, like Horace advised her to do, make them wait, piss them off. She rolls up and she's looking beautiful. She's looking immaculate. And Mallory is like, hey, you guys saw it on the trailer. You saw this scene, one of my favorite scenes. Mallory is like, hey, I'm so glad that you could join us. And Kimmy says, join you? I'm here to lead you. And then Mallory proceeds to try to give a speech and introduce Kimmy. And she says, this is Kimmy. And Kimmy just cuts her off mid-sentence like, listen, yes, my name is Kimmy, but you all could refer to me as Mrs. Bellery, and this is how we'll be running things. I'm not going to the boardroom meeting right now. I would like to see my office first, and I want him to show me, him being Roy. So Roy escorts her to her office, and she gives Roy a piece of her mind. She tells Roy that he's going to be her bitch, because Roy got in there and he proceeded to just forget who the fuck she was. He started calling her all kind of names like he used to. He started running off at the mouth, and she was checking him. And while she was checking him, Mallory comes knocking at the door. And they don't answer at first because they're in a heated exchange, Roy and Kimmy, right? And so Mallory just lets herself in. And Kimmy says to her, step the fuck out. And Mallory was like flabbergasted, like, what? And Kimmy said, dude, what part don't you understand about step the fuck out? And Mallory just says, listen, I was just here to tell you that they're all waiting for you at the boardroom. And Kimmy just says it again, like, step the fuck out. And Roy's face, you could tell Roy was so satisfied to see somebody talking to his wife, Mallory, like that. And you could tell he was kind of impressed with Kimmy, like, damn, Kimmy could really hold her own. Now, back at the mansion, Sylvie has found the stable boy, and they end up having relations in the barroom. And the stable boy, his name is Glenn, and he's actually Jules' son. So they're having relations in the barn, and Rain is looking for her. Rain finds her, and she initially thinks that this young boy, Glenn, is raping Sylvie, Kimmy's sister. So she has like some kind of farm tool, like a rake or something in, and she's threatening him that she's going to poke him. And she pushes him so much that he actually falls out the window, cracks his head open, and he's just bleeding out on the concrete. So that ends up to be three bodies that Rain got caught up with this season. She got caught up with Glenn. She got caught up with Dega and Shake Shake, right? 3 bodies so far. Although Glenn, we find out at the end of episode 8 that Glenn is not actually dead, but he damn near dead. He at least got to be brain dead or something because he was bleeding out so much, and Kimmy just dragged him off to the side until Alex showed up to the scene to help her out. So if they would have called 911 right away and got Glenn some help, I just think that would have been the best solution. But Rain, just being the ding dong that she is, didn't think to call for help, didn't think to just save this young boy's life. It's just too bad that it took us to episode 7, halfway through episode 7, to see Kimmy actually get to the company, because I think this was like, this was magnificent. This is what we all were waiting for. And I think this is how they should have kicked off season 2. And let's see more of Kimmy in the boardroom. Let's see more of Kimmy checking these people. Another thing that I just didn't like the first episodes, like Rain was the main character. Like when I signed up to watch this show, Kimmy was the main character. Now all of a sudden, the first few episodes of season 2 was like Rain was the main character. And I didn't like that at all. Now, after Kimmy leaves that boardroom with the trail of fire behind her, she tells Jules that she wants to meet with him in her office. And Jules proceeds to talk to her, and he's like, Kimmy. She slaps him. And then he says, Kimmy again. She slaps him again. He says, Kimmy again. And she slaps him a third time. And then he finally says, Mrs. Bellery. And he gets it right. And then they proceed to have a conversation at that point. And she calls Jules' wife right in front of him. Like, listen, when are we going to have dinner? Can't wait to meet the children. She speaks about his 10-year-old daughter. And she also speaks about his son in college, Glenn, that we know just fell out the window because Rain pushed him out the damn window, right? So we're going to see that storyline unfold. But Jules and Kimmy, they come head to head, and it is tense because Jules is not really backing down all the way. Neither is Roy. So I'm curious to see on the second half of this season how she deals with them. Like, and who does she have to get rid of first? And can she fire any of these people? One of the first people that got to go, obviously, is Varney, because Varney he's riding that fence. He's on both sides. But I would love to see if she could get rid of Roy, get rid of Jules. And ultimately, I would love to see her shut down that club. Those people are being trafficked, and they deserve to be able to go back home, pay off their debts, and just live their lives normally. But anyway, episode 8 ends off with Kimmy finally getting back to the crib. Alex is at the crib too, Alex the driver. and they're just debating on what to do over Glenn's body. Alex checks his pulse and realizes that Glenn, Jules' son, is not dead from falling out the window, but they need to get him help immediately. And it looks like Kimmy is caught up in the mix, and Rain is just a liability. Rain has got to go. She has been moving real messy. All you had to do was take a second to assess the situation, and you would see that Glenn was not raping Sylvie. So why did you push him out the window? Like, Rain is just moving real foul this season. No, actually, the episode does not end off like that. It ends off with Charles chopping up the bodies of the 3 armed robbers that he murked. Varney walks in, and Charles is getting his Dexter on. He is chopping the bodies with like a saw. Like, oh my God, I didn't know Charles even had that in him. So Charles is talking to Varney in the kitchen, and then they hear a knock on the door, and they're like, police. And 3 armed men come in talking about they're the police, and they hold Varney at gunpoint and Charles. So I'm guessing that was the delivery truck that was outside waiting while the robbery was supposed to be taking place, right? I'm guessing that Andy went and got back up, and he wants to know what's going on, because that's damn sure not no police. But that's how episode 8 actually ends off on the Charles scene. And again, just a very dumb storyline. Charles, I thought he was going to be the one to make it out. Like, Charles, like, that was self-defense. Like, people were robbing you. They had on masks. Like, he could have called the cops right away after he caught those 3 bodies. Like, listen, I just got robbed. You know, I invited a stripper back to my crib. Yeah, we were drinking. Yeah, we were doing drugs. But shit, he robbed me, and I had to kill all 3 of them. But I don't know. But damn, that was just a stupid storyline to me. But maybe Tyler Perry is going somewhere with this that I can't predict. But I did not want to see Charles be this stupid and chopping up 3 bodies. But anyway, guys, let me know who your favorite characters are in Beauty and the Black. Let me know who your least favorite is too. Again, Angel was my favorite, but now I don't know. I think I got to rock with Kimmy. You know, I love the way Kimmy slayed that boardroom. I love an intelligent, capable, strong woman. So hopefully she continues on that path. But nonetheless, guys, I will see you on the next Beauty and Black recap. If you made it this far in the video, drop some black hearts for me down below. Let me know you made it this far. See you on the next one. Peace.